Hello everyone. Now, welcome to yet another live stream from Hack This Fall for this season, and I'm super excited to be hosting yet another one. And with this time, as I mentioned in the previous live stream as well, we have already started doing more of hands-on workshops rather than talks on our YouTube. So here we are with yet another topic. If you see, it's intro to FlutterFire, and what FlutterFire is, basically combination of Flutter and Firebase. And how would you do that? Stay tuned for that because we have an amazing speaker joining us right because of that reason to talk about it, how to help you understand. You can create apps using that and a lot of more things for sure. But yeah, even before jumping onto that, I would like to take this time to welcome each and every one of you. If you are here, just say hello in the chat where you are joining in from. Feel free to let us know that. And yeah, would be more than happy to see all of those excitement in the chat as well. I see a couple of you already have been there for a while now, and I'm looking forward to see how this particular workshop goes for you all. So feel free to keep sharing your insights, learnings, questions if any, and would be more than happy to to do that as well. Uh, but yeah, without wasting any further time, let me quickly have our speaker for the day onto the stage. I would like to welcome Ayush Bherwani. And yes, Ayush, here we are. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All good, all good. Looking forward to this workshop. Any quick thing you would like to give as a starter before we actually jump onto the session?
Well, we're gonna learn how to use the real-time database today. So hopefully, attendees will be able to use it in the hackathon, make some chat applications or like have real-time database in their applications. So yeah, looking forward to today's session. Hopefully, like we'll have interactive attendees.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it's upon all the attendees who are listening to us or watching us right now. Ayush is expecting you to be interactive. So feel free to drop in your interactions in the chat, be it questions, be it any inputs or any silly questions you might have. Feel free to drop those. And Ayush is already monitoring the chat for you all. So Ayush, our audience is saying hello to you right from the chat. People are joining from different parts of the country. But yeah,
Hi
enough of
everyone.
let me quickly bring up your slide and we can start from there. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hi everyone, I am Ayush Bherwani. I am a software engineer at Frontier. I am also open sourcer at Flutter and WalletCo. I contribute to Flutter, Repo, and also WalletCo. I'm also organized at Flutter Vadodara. So if you want to have a session Flutter Vadodara, I'd be happy to host you. Just ping me on Twitter or anywhere you want. So today's session is more of how to use Firebase with Flutter. So hopefully, you would be having like basic intro of what Flutter is. If you don't know anything about Flutter, it's okay. If you don't know about Firebase, we'll just have a quick overview of what Flutter is and what Firebase is before we shift on to hands-on. So what I do into day-to-day life, right? So let's just go through that. Things I do and work on is usually mobile development. So I am a mobile developer. I usually work on like Flutter, iOS, and also on Android native. I work in a Web3 company, so that's why like I also work on the protocol development, which is basically like using Solidity to develop smart contracts. So like yeah, do reach out to me like if you want to just collaborate for fun projects, anything like that. We'll be happy to collaborate and like make some cool shit. So before we jump on to like why are we using Flutter, let's discuss the problem. So how many of you are done the coding in native development of like iOS and Android? Like you can like ping it in the chat, like if you have done it, we'll be like monitoring the chat. And also if you have done like programming in native development, right? Like Android or iOS, you can also share the problems that you have faced over there. So let's just wait for 1 minute and see if anyone drops it. Okay, I see a couple of people saying yes, they have done coding in native development. Okay, so the first problem in the native development is like it is comparatively slower than Flutter. So what I mean by that is like take an example like you are building a startup or like you want to build an MVP and you want to support not only like iOS and Android, you want to support the both of the platforms. or just say like you want to support all of the platforms available out there, like having an support for Android devices and having support for iOS devices, having support for Mac OS, like also Windows OS and Linux OS. For that, it is comparatively slower because you will need a different team to code for that. So basically, you will be having separate teams who will be working separately. So that's the issue in the native development, which is that's why it is comparatively slower. So how does Flutter comes into picture? So basically, Flutter is like मैं expert हूँ, मेरे को सब आता है. So what I mean by that is, in Flutter you can develop applications for like Android, iOS, Mac OS, Linux, also your you can say Windows OS, also for the embedded systems using a single code base. So that's why it is called a multi-platform framework. If you do like just imagine like you are going in a hackathon and like basically you are using Flutter to develop your application which supports all of the platforms, right? So basically people will be like hacker hai, bhai hacker hai, actual hacker hai. So that's it for the Flutter. Flutter has a lot of other benefits like compared to native development, which is like you, as I said, like you can develop applications for multiple platforms using a single code base. Apart from that, Flutter is mostly focused on developing UI. So that what I mean by that is like you can develop some crazy UIs with Flutter, which also supports 60 FPS or 120 FPS if the device is supported for the 120 hertz. So like if you're using Flutter, you can develop really you can say amazing UIs. How many of you know like what applications are built with Flutter? You can drop in the comments if you know any applications built in Flutter. Let's just wait and see like how many of you know what applications are built in Flutter. Okay, I see Wonders. Okay, I'm not about. Okay, Google Pay. Yes, Google Pay is built in Flutter. Dreamland. Yes. How many of you play PUBG or BGMI? You can drop in the comment like if you have played or if you play. Yes, Tata New is also built in Flutter. Yeah, Alibaba is one of the earliest adopters of Flutter. So there are, if you can see, like there are a lot of applications out there, and it's not some applications that are like small level applications, but the applications that are used by millions of people out there. So if you have played the PUBG, right? PUBG is also using Flutter for the basically UI interfaces. So that's also one thing. So many of people don't know that the PUBG is also using Flutter, and there are a lot of applications out there who use this. For example, BMW applications are also built in Flutter. So it's not like the you can say like Flutter is just for the UI, but it's for like n number of use cases that you want to do out there with the hackathon projects or like with your startups or like enterprise level applications. So now comes the question like we know what Flutter is, right? Now just take an example like you are developing an application for movies, right? You are developing an application for movies where I can like star my movies in a favorite section, right? So how can you solve that? Like just take an example, I'm storing the favorites in the local database, right? What happens in the local database is if I remove the application, if I delete the application and install it again, the data will be lost, and I will be having a I will have to reconfigure everything in the application by selecting what all movies I want to add into my watch list, what all movies are in my favorites. You have used Netflix, right? So you must be using Netflix on multiple devices. So whatever you add in the wish list of your movies, right? It goes through everywhere. It is sync across the devices. So how it is done, right? It is done through Firebase. I mean, like it is not done through Firebase, but basically it is done through like having a cloud storage or like cloud sync like that. So we're gonna today go through is Firebase. So brace yourself, Firebase is coming. So why are we using Firebase? Why are we not learning how to build a traditional database and like having set up your own database in like Digital Ocean or something like that? So there are a couple of issues in that. So just imagine like you're building a startup or an MVP for a hackathon, right? you don't have that many resources to build a server for your own and like host it and then also add the database in the server and like manage everything, right? So that's where Firebase comes into the picture. So what is Firebase and why we should Firebase? We already know why we should use Firebase, but what is Firebase? So Firebase is nothing but just a cloud service by the Google, where you can like develop applications way faster, the real time applications. So basically, if you want to develop applications where like Netflix, right, where you can have the wish list, you can have the favorites, everything like that. That can be done through Firebase also. If you want to develop applications like Splitwise or something like that, you can also do that in the Firebase. So let's just go through what all services Firebase provides usually. So if you can go onto the doc page of Firebase, right, you can see there are so many services it provides. It first is real-time database. So real-time database similarly like it's an old service by Firebase for storing your data into the JSON format. You also have a remote config which you can use for the A/B testing. How many of you know what is A/B testing? You can drop in the comment. You can also have like cloud functions basically writing your own logical server, like having your own server where you can like logical functions everything to push notification, something like that. If you want to add the Google login, Twitter login, like custom login with you can say OTP or something like that, you can also add that. So if you're not using Firebase, what will happen is you will require multiple services and then you will have to club together into your server and then manage it. So that's why Firebase is very easy to use for the new enterprises or like even big level enterprises uses it. You can also use cloud messaging, cloud storage. So if you want to have an application where develop your own Google Drive, right? If you want to develop your own Google Drive, you can also do that using the cloud storage. If you want to host your websites, you can do that. If you want to add machine learning into your application, right? This is one of the hot topics that you might want to use in the, you can say, for your hackathon projects, right? Having an ML model and then do like using the ML to like get some data from the model, anything like that. So you can also use Firebase ML in that. This is just a brief like what you can use. And if you want to go in the release and monitor, there are a lot of services. For example, Crashlytics, Google Analytics, which is used by the enterprise solutions to know how the application is doing in the market. So yeah, so that's why we are using the Firebase as of now, because it is easy to use and like it provides a lot of varieties of options like authentication, Crashlytics, analytics, you can say storage, cloud storage. So let's just go on the other side and see. So before we move on to how to do all these things, right, we will need to create our own Flutter project. So we'll just quickly go and like create a new Flutter project. Let's just say we'll do an application and I'll create a new project. Let's just say group chat. So before we move on and see like what we're developing, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a group chat using the Firebase database. So what I mean by that is like you will have a real-time application where you can do the group chats. This is one of the thing you might want to add in your hackathon projects, or like it just gives you a brief overview how to use the file storage. So it's really easy for you to like modify how to use like file storage instead of group chat for different kind of applications. So once you have created the basic, like I have created a like a brand new project, nothing is there, this is a basic. You can see the template that is given by Flutter itself right now. Now, let's just say if you want to use Firebase in your Flutter application, there are few steps you need to do. The first thing is to install like Firebase CLI. Why we need this is I'll show you. Let's just say if you don't want to have a Firebase like CLI, what you will need to do is you will need to go over here. You will need to create a new project. For example, let's just say group chat. We're gonna use a group chat, something like that, and continue. And then okay, Google Analytics, right? Select an account for Firebase account. So this is one way of creating a project in your you can say Firebase console on your dashboard. But if you're using the Firebase CLI, you can do all of these things using the Firebase CLI from the terminal itself. So you don't need to like go on the website and like do all these things, which is really like faster way to like configure everything. So this is one way of creating it. But if you want to not do it, what we can do is we can install the Firebase CLI. you can see over here there are two ways of doing that. One is like if you have Node install, you can use the npm install g Firebase tools, which is basically enabling it Firebase tools for the like your system. And if you wanna using the if you wanna use the curl command, you can also use this one. I have already installed it, but if you want, I can show you. Let's just say open a terminal over here. So as you can see, like it is already installed in my machine. So if you wanna, you can also like code with me, like if you wanna do it. The second is to log in into Firebase CLI. So you can like fetch the projects which are in the Firebase console. So I have already logged in. So if you can see, we have already logged in with my email ID. If you want, I can show you how we can log out first and log in again to see how it works. So once you click over here, and we need to allow permissions, and we are done. So if you can come back over here, you can see like you're successfully logged in. And if you want to see your projects, you can directly see from here. So this will list your all of the projects. So you can see, and you will be also able to see the group chat over here, right? Which we created just now. And if you want to create your own project, you can also use Firebase. You can say Firebase project and create. If you hit this command, it will create a new project for you in the Firebase console. I think misspelled typo. So basically it is asking for the unique ID and anything like that. We don't want to do that, so we'll just cancel it. Now, once we have like logged into the project, we have already created a new project. Now we need to install the FlutterFire CLI. FlutterFire CLI is basically combination of like packages which you can use in Flutter. And if you are using FlutterFire CLI, you can configure the application from the command line itself, and you don't have to do the manual configuration. So if you want to do the manual configuration, you can go to the project, you can click over here, iOS, and then you can see over here, right? You need to register the app bundle, everything, then download the config file, Firebase SDK, initialize code, and everything like that. But if you have FlutterFire CLI, you don't need to do that. Let's just see if we have it. It is not. So what we'll do is we'll just activate it. So as you can see, like I'm using Dart pub global activate FlutterFire CLI. So what it will do is it will allow me to use the FlutterFire CLI functions globally anywhere from the terminal. And we also need to export the path. For the meanwhile, we can just simply copy paste it over here to make it like available in this session only of the terminal. So once we are done that, we can see we will be able to use FlutterFire CLI. FlutterFire, yeah. So if you can see, it is working fine now. Now what we need to do is we need to configure. But before configuring, what we need to do is we need to just say like what all packages we want to use. The first package we want to use is Firebase Core. So Firebase Core provides all of the services. It works as a, you can say, the core package for you to use any of the Firebase services, like connecting your application to the project, anything like that. That is done handled by the Firebase Core. So we're gonna add that package first. So we're gonna use flutter pub add Firebase Core. So this will add the Firebase Core package in our application. As you can see, you can go over here. Now it is added. And apart from that, we also want to use the Flutter, I think it's Firestore database, or it is Cloud Firestore. Let's just see. We can go to the pub.dev, can search cloud. Yeah, it's Cloud Firestore. You can see over here. So we need to add this package also for us to like connect with the Cloud Firestore in the Firebase services. So what we're gonna do is similarly, since we added the Firebase Core, we'll do the same thing. Flutter pub add Cloud Firestore. So this will add the cloud file in our application. So done, we have also imported this package. And once we have done that, we need to configure, right? So what we're gonna do is FlutterFire configure. So this will basically this will allow you to like register your application to the project. So you don't have to do it manually by doing all these steps. It will do it for you. So we'll just type FlutterFire configure. So as you can see, like it is fetching available Firebase projects. And for you to use the FlutterFire, right, you need to do have a Flutter like Firebase CLI installed. Otherwise, you won't be able to use the FlutterFire CLI. So we want to use as group chat. We'll select the group chat from here. And once you are done that, it asks which platforms you should configure, which platforms you want to support. So we want to support Android, iOS, and macOS. We'll remove the web from here. And if you want to remove, you can just hit the space for selecting, deselecting. You'll just do that and click enter. So you can see like it is doing all of the work for you. So you don't have to do it manually. So I see there is a question, do we have to add FlutterFire package every time in each project? No. So basically, if you're using Dart Plug Global Activate, right? So it is not project specific, it is system specific. So if you want to if you don't want to add this every time, you can basically export this path in your ZHS file or like bash file. I'll show you how you can open it. It is similar to adding path of Flutter. Usually what we do, I'll show you over here. Just say nano. So as you can see, this is my ZHS file where I can store the system variables. So if you can see, there is a path option available for Flutter. So similarly, if you want to use the FlutterFire CLI every time, you can basically add it over here, add it on the path. What we do for time being, just I have exported for the local session itself for the terminal. I'll just exit, I'll hit no. Okay. So once we have configured, you can see it has generated a Firebase option file, which will have the configuration for you. So you can see it has configured everything. This is my API key and everything. I will need to delete the project after this. So yeah. So this is basically my API keys and everything configured over here. So what we need to do now is once we have done that, let's just go to the slides, add Flutter package. We have also configured our package. Now what we need to do is we need to initialize the Firebase into our application. So for that, we're gonna use the package that we used, Firebase core. So Firebase dot we're gonna import the package, initialize app, and it gives you options. So we are gonna use the file that it generated. If you can see over here, it has generated a file for us. So we're gonna use this file. So we'll say default Firebase options, and we're gonna use the current platform. So for example, like if you're running this application on iOS, you can basically it will use the iOS configuration for you. If it is running on the Android, it will use the Android configuration for you. If you're running on the Windows OS or Mac OS, it is going to use the Mac OS configuration for you. So you can see the configurations are over here, the Android, iOS, and Mac OS. If we click the web also, it will also configure the web for us. So first we need to make it async because we want to use await, and let's just make it return future void instead of void. And if I run this application, it will give me error because like I'm like doing asynchronous operation before calling the run app. So what we need to do is we need to ensure the binding has been done by Flutter. So to do that, we can use widget Flutter binding dot ensure initialize. So what this function will do is it will ensure that the binding for the application with the native code is done before we run the application itself, like using the run app. And if you know, the run app is used to like attach your pixels onto your device. So before everything happens, you want to ensure the widgets are initialized and binding has been done, and also our Firebase is initialized. So once we have done that, we gonna make a group chat, right? So for group chat, we need two things. We need a text field, right, to send the message. If you're right now in the, you can say, if you're in the live chat of the stream, you have an option of writing your like chat and like hitting enter, something like that. So we will also need that. But before that, let's just try to run the application and see how the things are working or not for us. Let's just hit the debug option. Also, meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can like keep it in the chat. I'm just looking at the chat right now. If you have any questions for Windows, maybe it is environment variables. Yeah, for Windows, it is environment variables. So if you want to use FlutterFire CLI every time, you can add it into the environment variables. If you're on the Windows, it will give you an option how to export the path. Meanwhile, let me just set up. So you can see how it is right now. Running the application first time is always tough. Let's just start again. While we are over here, let's just go to the Firebase and enable the service we want to use. So right now you can see like it has like get started, something like that. If we'll like hit refresh, it will show you like 3 apps has been added to the Firebase group chat project. If you can see over here, group chat Android, group chat iOS, and group chat macOS. So don't have to do manually, use the FlutterFire CLI, which is really cool thing, and you can like configure it in like 5 to 10 minutes itself. And the thing we want to use right now is basically Firestore database. So we'll click on that. And we'll say create database. For this, for this we'll be choosing the location like in the one of the Mumbai, which is the nearest to us for the better performance. And we'll hit next. And you have like there are two modes in this, like start in the production mode or start in the test mode. In the production mode, you can like have the set of rules like, okay, if the user has been registered on the application, then only he can or she can like have a access to the database, something like that. So if you want to do add all this kind of configuration, you can use the production mode, but will be for purpose of like testing and like seeing how it is working, will be starting in the test mode. As you can see over here, right, like it says you allow anyone with your database reference to view, edit, delete all the data in your database for the next 30 days. We are okay with that for time being, so enable it. Xcode bid failed due to a concurrent base. What is happening? Nice, it's downloading. What is flutter command I'm using? Let's just try again and see if it's working for us or not. Hopefully it should work. Otherwise, let's try from next code. Let's try from next code and see if it's working. Okay, build fail. Unable to attach the DB. Okay, let's try to debug and see what the issue is. Just close all and restart. See, nothing is no group chat. Yes. Let's see if it is working now. You cannot install the iOS emulator on the Windows. That's the issue with developing iOS applications on the Windows. But yeah, you can use the Firebase services from the which gives you options to like run your applications on the real devices like iOS even if you don't have one. Yeah, I think like there was concurrent build, that's why it was not working. Let's see if this works now. Nice warnings. The reason why you hate being a developer, the things that happens on the runtime, which you have no idea about. Just stop it. Let's just try it on the simulator once again. Launching simulator. Let's try running on the simulator once again. Hopefully it will work this time. We haven't even started coding and this is a boilerplate template we are using still. the time it is like launching, let's just write a model class for us, which will allow us to convert the JSON model into the like Dart object. So we'll just basically create a new file. Let's just say group chat message, and in this class we'll have like two fields. One is the message, and one is the timestamp. And we'll have it, both will be of type string. First is the we need the message, and second is like having you can say timestamp. And we also need you can say we also kind of need a to JSON and from JSON for this class. So we'll just create a factory constructor for this factory constructor group chat message from JSON, which will have a JSON, you can say map of string dynamic, and we'll be returning basically group chat message. And the JSON will have like the keys will be the message and timestamp itself. Make sure the keys are proper, otherwise like you will have runtime error. And we will also require, you can say to JSON, which will give you which will basically you can say the give you the map of the current object. So in this we will return also our application as run. So let's just complete and see. The key will be message, and we'll be passing the message, and the other key will be timestamp, and we'll be passing the timestamp as it is. And let's just go and see our application. At least nothing is the demo project itself. So let's just do the modifications over here. We don't need the title Flutter demo. We'll just delete this thing. We'll change the title to group chat. Apart from that, let's just delete this thing also. We don't require this thing, and we don't require this function itself. Let's just delete the whole thing. Let's just return the scaffold from here, and in the app bar we will have app bar with the title from the above, widget.title. And we'll also need body. So in the body we need like couple of things. One is the list of you can say messages, and also we need the text field, right? So we obviously going to use the column for that. In the column you can pass children, and let's just say for time being we just add a text field over here. And in the text field we'll also pass the text editing controller. So basically text editing controller will allow us to like validate the text and also like access the text anywhere in the class. And if you want to like have a, you can say the default text, you can have a default text over here, but we don't want that. So let's just pass it over here in the controller. Okay, so let's just hit the hotel start and see how the things are. So if you can see now we have a like a text field over here, and let's just modify it to, first let's just give the padding for it not to sticking to the sides of the application, the pixels. What is the, let's give padding of all the 16 to have the evenly padding across all of the up, down, right, and bottom. Okay, so now we have the equal padding of 16 to the top right and top right, bottom left. And now you can see it is looking better than before. We also need a kind of icon for user to hit every time they have written a text. So for that, we'll need a decoration and input decoration. We also need a suffix icon. So in the suffix, we'll be passing the icon widget, icon button over here, which user can press to send the text message. And in the icon, we're gonna use is the icons.send. Let's just see how it looks like right now. Okay, so now we do have a icon over here, if you can see, to user to press. And on this press, we want to send the message, right? So let's just create a function to send the message. And let's just say we will name it send message. And now we'll implement this message method. So let's just implement our method send message, right? So on the send message, what we need to do is we need to get the text from the text field, right? So for that, we can say message equals to, we're gonna use a text editing controller. As I said, like you can use a text editing controller to access the text of the text field anywhere in the class where it is declared. And once we have got the message, what we need to do is we need to add it to the, you can say, to the database, right? To send it to the cloud storage, or like you can say fire based database. So what we're gonna do is like firebase firestore dot instance, and we're gonna use collection. So basically collection is you can say kind of if you have done the MySQL, it's basically a table. Collection is basically a table, and all of the rows in the table are basically your documents, if you can like compare it to the MySQL to NoSQL. So let's just say we'll name it chat, and we will add it over here. And in this thing, we need to create an object first. Let's just say chat group chat message equals to group chat message, and the message will be passing the message, and in the timestamp it should be the time the user is sending the message, right? So to get that, what we can do is date time dot now, and we need to show in the like you can say integer value. So we'll be using like milliseconds in epoch. And we'll convert it into to string, right? And let's just say like we should keep it in the integer for us to like easily convert every time. Okay, so let's just pass it in the integer format itself. Once you're done that, we need to do group chat message to JSON, because like to add the like document, we need to pass it in the like JSON format. So we'll pass the thing over here, and this we are done. Okay, so once the text has been added, what we need to do is we need to clear the text field, because you don't want to show the same text once the user has sent the message. So what we're gonna do is we will clear the text field by text editing controller dot clear. Let's just hit restart and see like how things is. So if you can see now, let's just hit. As you can see, the message is sent to the Firestore, and the text editing controller has been clear. Now let's just see in our like database if this is reflected or not. If you can see in the Firestore, we have created a collection called chat, which we used over here, and they have added a new document. This document ID is randomly generated, but if you want to have custom document ID, you can also do that. And in the document, if you can see, there are two fields. One is the message, which is like this one, the message that user is sending, and other is the timestamp. It is in the milliseconds epoch in the integer value. Now, once we are done that, we also want to show the message to the user, right? So how are we gonna do that? So for that, we'll be requiring a list view because the message will be in the list view. And to use that, we need to obviously use the expanded. Let's just do it without expanded and see what the issue is. To get the data from the Firestore, we can get it using like, can say, we can have the stream snapshots. We are using stream because like you don't want to hit the API again and again to get the data. We want to create a stream between our application and the Firebase. So you can like listen to the, like you can get access to the chats in the real time. So we're gonna use a stream over here and we're gonna get Firestore, Firestore instance dot collection, and our collection name was chat, and we're gonna get the chat by snapshots. So if you are using the snapshots, it will give you a stream. If you can see over here, right? So we will obviously using a stream builder to build our application based on the stream that we are listening to. And in the snapshot, you can see like it has error connection state. So we need to make sure the connection state is not in the error or in the loading. We need to make sure it is in the connected state. So we can check it using this one. So if connection is done, we need to show user the list of messages. And if we can say else, if the snapshot connection state error, we need to do on the waiting one, right? Yeah. Or we can basically return the loading indicator from here itself. And if the connection state is done, we need to make sure the data does not has any error. So to do that, you can do with data has snapshot has error. If it is having error, you can return the text field, something like error occurred or something, whatever you want to pass. Otherwise, what you can do is you can return a list view.builder, and in the builder you will be building a list. You can say the list of messages that the group chat is right now having. We need to show that, right? So for that, we can use the list style, and in the title we can show the message over here. So before that, let's just configure our application in a better way. So let's just assume that you don't have any error, right? So we are sure that we'll be having the snapshot data. The data will be there for you. So let's just say this is like query document snapshot data equals to snapshot dot data. For more, like you can also do something like this, like has data. If both are true, then only it works. So let's just print like what it is and hit a restart and see what kind of data we are getting. There is something I'm missing, a semicolon. Let's just for time being, let's just say it's a message in the text field. Let's just hit restart. We are in the loading progress indicator. So it means like it's not right now in the done state. We have snapshots. Snapshots. It is going into the stream. Let's just say what a snapshot is we are getting. Snapshot has neither data nor error. Okay, we are getting unbounded height. Okay, so yeah, that the thing I was talking about. If you're using list view, you need to use expanded in the column. Otherwise, it will give you unbounded height exception. So we're gonna wrap it using the expanded. Hit restart again. Let's see. Okay, so you can see right now it is like giving you a list of messages, and here you have a text field. But we don't want to get the message from this. We need the message that user is sending. So what we're gonna do is we need to convert the data we are getting, which is an instead of JSON query snapshot, into the our group chat message class, right? So we'll write a method function over here, which will do that for us. So let's just say it will return us the group chat messages. Uh, Query document snapshot, which will take query document snapshot data, and we can basically map the data dot uh, so the return type we are getting. So query snapshot. So from map we want to map it to the group chat message from JSON to pass E and to list. Let's just say it's we can map string dynamic. We can use this one over here, and we can pass the snapshot dot data. Let's just print what we are getting. JSON dot query document snapshot is not a subtype of So as you can see, we are getting a list of group chat messages. Now we want to use this data into our own like list view. So we gonna item count should be data dot length because we only want to show the messages that are available to the user. And once we are done that, we can access the message over here. Let's just say data and index, and this should be message dot message. So as you can see now, it is showing you A and A. So let's just say you can say hello world. It is updated on the live. You can see. But we don't want to show it like this, right? Like it should be in order way. Like you can see like my hello world message is showing in the second place, and then my how are you doing is showing in the last. So what we can do is we can also order the data we are getting in by using the order by query, and we want to order by using the timestamp. So as you can see now, the latest message will be shown in the last, as you usually get in the chat applications. So let's try this out. So if you can see right now, we have built a chat application which you can use in the real time data. Like you can update in the real time, and you can have like multiple applications, and then you can also have a group or something like that. And now you might be wondering, like maybe we want to show the username or something like that, right? So what you can do is you can just Google authentication and get the user ID, and instead of just adding the message and the timestamp, you can also add the user ID in the message document. So then you can you can also show something like here, like this message sent by this user or something like that, if you wanna improve the application like in future or something like that. So if you'll go into the group chat or something over here, if you can see there are like multiple documents created with the different message timestamp, something like that. And if you want to add the user, you can basically keep it like user ID, and the value should be like can say like whatever username the user has given. For example, if you have given Ayush Bherwani, you can also add that. Now you can you can show the user ID, some user ID over here or something like that. So yeah, this was from my side, like how to build a group chat using Firestore. So if you have any doubts, questions, you can like throw it in the comment. Like I'll definitely love to answer them.
Awesome. I see. We are almost on time as well. But yeah, how was it, Ayush, for you? I saw
Yeah,
there
it
were
was
some
good. Yeah,
red,
yeah,
red patches, but I think that's fine. It's very common.
yeah. It's like developers curse.
Yeah. If it doesn't happen, I'm worried. But all good.
And it's good.
Well,
Like we were able to decode and like debug it in the on the live stream.
yeah, no, that
It's a
it's
part of
so
a developer's job.
it's everyone watching. It's the proof that we were live. It's not recorded. Yeah, I see some questions coming in now. Feel free to drop your questions there if you have any, and we can pick some of them before we actually end
They
this.
create our own ML model. Yeah. So basically, as I said, like there is Firebase ML which is in the beta right now. So basically, you can use the Firebase ML, and then you can basically integrate in your application. There are packages available. If you can, I'll just drop the link if it's fine for the packages. FlutterFire CLI. Should I add in the comment?
Yeah, you can add it here.
Can
We'll have
you?
it.
Yeah. Can you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, FlutterFire is free for cost. So if you can see, like when we are setting up our project, right, we were basically using the default Firebase application, which is basically free of cost for like certain amount. So if your users exceeding above certain limits, then it is like pay as you go. But yeah, for like hackathons, for the MVPs of startup, you can like use it for free of cost.
Yeah, sounds good. Feel free to rewatch the recording at Genemo if in case you missed out on any part of the live stream. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
we'll
think that's
also
mhm.
yeah, go ahead. We'll also add it in the GitHub and we'll share the link. So if you wanna directly jump in the code, you can do that.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that was it from this particular live stream. Ayush, do you have any closing remarks before we end this one? Maybe some ideas for hackers to build during the hackathon.
Good question.
And I
Let's
know you are joining in, so it's going to be exciting.
yeah, yeah. We'll definitely drop some suggestions like in the Discord group. So make sure to join the Discord group.
Yeah, sounds good. You already did my job. Yes. If you haven't yet, make sure you join it. The link is also there in the description. But yeah, that was it from this particular live stream. Thank you so much, Ayush. See you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Perfect. People, if you haven't applied for the hackathon that's coming super soon, make sure you apply here. The applications are closing on 5th of January, that is tomorrow. So, in case you have missed out, apply with your team right away. And I don't want you to miss out on this experience that we have, ready for you all. But yeah, we still have many more speaker sessions coming up. So in case you haven't checked out our schedule, you can head over to our website, which is hackthisfall.tech. And with that being said, thank you so much everyone for joining in. In case you missed out on any part of the live stream, feel free to rewind it. You can reach out to Ayush on Twitter and he'll be more than happy to help you out. And in case you're joining in person, he will also be mentoring all our hackers there. But yeah, thank you so much once again and see you then. Take care.